In today's video, we'll touch on the latest reports when it comes to the Knicks tampering allegations for signing Jalen Brunson, and that's being pushed by the Dallas Mavericks. So if you hate Marc Cuban, if you don't like the show Shark Tank, I want you to go down right now and like this video. What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's show, we'll touch on the latest NBA report from Bleacher Report when it comes to the Knicks tampering charge. And then on the back half of the show, I saw on Twitter some rumblings that the Charlotte Hornets might be interested in trading for Julius Randle, so we'll break down those trade rumors. But first, let's start with the news of the day and the Knicks being allegedly or could be charged with tampering coming in a couple of days. Bleacher Report put this out early this morning, and this was per Fred Katz, who covers the Knicks for The Athletic. He said the Knicks are expected to be penalized for tampering regarding their agreement with Jalen Brunson. The Mavericks were frustrated because of reports finished contract talks between Brunson and the Knicks that came out before sides were allowed to speak to each other. There was a lot of Brunson rumors throughout NBA free agency, and the reports were that they came to an agreement before that 5 p.m. Opening of NBA free agency. So the Mavs were upset. They were also upset that Leon Rose in Worldwide West attended the Mavs' first-round playoff game against the Utah Jazz. Were they scouting Donovan Mitchell? Were they scouting Jalen Brunson? Who knows? But Fred Katz, he expanded on the report this morning. This is what he had to say in his write-up. He said, "From what I've gathered, the Mavericks are quite frustrated with the Knicks, and not just because of reports of a finished deal that came out before New York was even allowed to speak with Brunson." And he said, "Though I am not sure how tampering rules account for father-son relationships, and this situation involves two of those. Leon Rose, his son, is the agent for Jalen Brunson, and of course Rick Brunson is a coach on Tom Thibodeau's staff with the Knicks." He also said, "Dallas wasn't thrilled about Knicks executive William Worldwide West Wesley for showing up courtside to a Mavs versus Jazz playoff game either." The tampering penalty at this point seems inevitable in my opinion. The deal came out an hour before free agency opened. We know there was a lot of talks and a lot of smoke regarding Jalen Brunson to the New York Knicks, but like Fred Katz said, when there's two fathers and two sons involved, how deep does tampering allegations really go? Are you not allowed to talk to your agent, or is your agent not allowed to talk to his dad? It's really sticky. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen, but I think it's noteworthy to say that the Heat and Bulls last year were fined a second-round draft pick by the NBA for the Lonzo Ball and the Kyle Lowry tampering stuff that went down last NBA free agency. It sounded like the NBA really wanted to, get down on this and not have this continue to be a problem going into the future. And here we are again. The Knicks and Leon Rose might be charged with tampering for the signing of Jalen Brunson. Honestly, if it's just a second-round pick, I feel like it's worth it. I would trade if it came to a sign and trade. I would include a second-round pick in that Brunson deal. At the end of the day, that second-round pick may never be as good as Brunson, even though Brunson was a second-round pick. But if that's all it costed to guarantee Jalen Brunson signing with the New York Knicks, honestly, I'm cool with it. At this point, F Marc Cuban. He is just salty that Jalen Brunson chose signing with James Dolan in the New York Knicks over him. I'd be upset too, because we know all and well about Dolan, but the Mavs, they have nobody but to blame for themselves. They lowballed Brunson throughout the entire process. Right before the NBA trade deadline, they could have offered him a 4-year, $55 million extension. And the reports were Brunson was going to sign that deal, but they never offered him that. And then when free agency opened, they offered him a 5-year, $104 million deal, while the Knicks offered him 4 years for $100 million. So they didn't even match the offer the Knicks gave him. So at the end of the day, it's Marc Cuban's fault that Jalen Brunson will not be playing for the Dallas Mavericks next year. He's just salty. He's just mad. He's trying to get back at the Knicks and trying to get the NBA to investigate these tampering allegations. And for that, I want everyone to go down in the comments section right now and light up the comments and just type F Cuban, F Marc Cuban, because look, he's salty. He's a loser. He's mad Jalen Brunson's not going to be a New York Knick or a Dallas Maverick anymore, and he's going to be playing with the New York Knicks. So if you're tired of Marc Cuban, if you hate him, whatever it is, I just want you to go down in the comments right now and type F Cuban. I also want to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed to New York Knicks Now throughout the NBA offseason. On NBA Draft Day, we were at 6,644 subscribers. And 19 videos later, in that time span, we're up to 8,420 subs. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's hit that big red button. And we're going to continue to grow and continue to put out content every single day around the New York Knicks. When they make a move, we put a video out. When rumors pop up, we put a video out. So subscribe. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers for free daily videos on the latest New York Knicks news and rumors. Story number 2 on today's show. Gordon Hayward trade rumors. He's been mentioned in trade rumors throughout the NBA offseason. He has a very hefty salary remaining for 2 years, $60 million. And the Hornets have been rumored to getting off of him and trying to, get some salary cap relief. He's been mentioned in a whole bunch of trades. And with Charlotte now having a void to fill at the power forward spot because of Miles Bridges and everything that went down surrounding him, could they be interested in a Julius Randle trade? This has been heating up on Twitter, and NBA Analysis put this article out yesterday, and it was a trade idea where the Knicks would receive Gordon Hayward, a 2023 first-round pick that's owned by Charlotte, which is top 10 protected, and then the Hornets would receive Julius Randle and Cam Reddish. I'll give you my thoughts on this trade idea by NBA Analysis in a second, but I want to hear from you first, then I got an awesome deal for you all. Let me know, would you make this trade? If you were Leon Rose, if you were Worldwide West, is it worth dumping Julius Randle and Cam Reddish for a first-round pick and Gordon Hayward? It's a lot to unpack, but I want you to let me know in the comment section if you would accept or decline this trade right now. I want to give a shout out to Fanatics for sponsoring today's show. They've got all type of New York Knicks gear on sale right now. They've got hoodies, they've got t-shirts, they've got backpacks, anything that could have a New York Knicks logo on it, they got it. So go to chatsports.com/Knicks sale. They're hooking you guys up with on sale New York Knicks gear all year long. And shout out to them. I'll put the link to that in the comment section and description of this video. That's chatsports.com/Knicks sale. Get yourself a backpack, or your son or your daughter. Get them a New York Knicks backpack because school is just around the corner. One more time, chatsports.com/Knicks sale. I'll put that in the comments and description of this video. When it comes to that trade of Gordon Hayward and Julius Randle, I'm not making that deal. And we can show that deal again if you want to, Sam. But when you think about Cam Reddish and Julius Randle, and you're only netting Gordon Hayward and a first-round pick, you're having to take on $30 million of salary over the next 2 seasons for Gordon Hayward. And at this point, he is not even close to the player that he once was. I like what he did early on in his NBA career before he had that, catastrophic injury. But he's played in just 92 games in the last 2 years, and the best ability is availability. And coming over to this Knicks squad as a veteran that's going to be 33 years old that you can't depend on to play night in and night out, that's not worth, in my opinion, selling Julius Randle as well as Cam Reddish. And then you got to take this into effect. We talked about it. 2 years left on his contract at $61 million. He would be the highest paid player on the New York Knicks. I like Gordon Hayward. He was nice in college, almost had one of the best buzzer beaters of all time. But last year, he just played in 49 games, and he was good, but he's not a superstar anymore. Averaged 16 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, was pretty efficient, shot 46% from the field and 40% from downtown. If I got Gordon Hayward for 82 games, guaranteed over the next 2 seasons, I would think about it. But that's not the truth. That's not the reality. Injured players stay injured, and that's what he is at this point. And this would be selling Julius Randle at his absolute lowest, and that's bad business in any field of work or anything. You don't want to sell a prospect or an asset when their value is lower than it's ever going to be. And honestly, this might be a little bit of a hot take, so I'm going to whisper it. I kind of want to see Brunson and Julius Randle play together. I know I've been on the leading the charge of the Julius Randle trade rumors, but when you brought Jalen Brunson in here, who is one of the most effective pick-and-roll point guards in the game, I want to see what him and Julius can do in that type of two-man game, whether it's a pick-and-pop or a pick-and-roll. I think that could bring the best out of Julius. Brunson is going to set up Julius for easier looks. I think Randle is going to come into this year motivated. Does that mean he's going to be back to that 2020 most improved player, second all-team NBA? I'm not sure, but I think adding Brunson makes the life of him easier. He doesn't have to go into that ISO mid-range where he has to just get buckets in the fourth quarter. He now has a point guard he can rely on. And also, giving up Cam Reddish makes no sense, in my opinion, in this deal. Yes, he has only one more year on his contract, but is he really worth adding on to a Julius Randle trade just to dump him to get Gordon Hayward as a top 10 protected first-round pick? I don't think so. I'm not the biggest fan of Cam Reddish because I trust my eyes. And in the 4 seasons he's been in the NBA, he hasn't done really anything to stand on. Does he have potential? Yes. Is he a 6'8 wing that can put the ball on the deck and look really smooth? Yes. But he hasn't proven that he can be an NBA rotational player on a winning team. That's why the Atlanta Hawks traded him. So let's circle it all back. And I'll ask you this question, and we got something cool at the end of the show for you guys. If you could only pick one of these guys to be on the New York Knicks next year, let me know who it would be. Type JR for Julius Randle, or you can go down and type GH for Gordon Hayward. 10 years ago today, Jason Kidd signed with the New York Knicks, an NBA free agency, and I was just thinking about it. That season where he was there with Melo and the Knicks made the playoffs, it was one of the best times. It was the best time of my life to be a New York Knicks fan. I didn't get to witness the Patrick Ewing days. I got to see the 2000 finals with Sprewell and Allen Houston. But Jason Kidd, when he came to the Knicks, I think he was better than everybody expected. He kind of ran out of gas at the end of the season, wasn't the best version of himself in the playoffs. But he was probably the last great point guard the New York Knicks had prior to Jalen Brunson. So let's show Jay Kidd some love. It was really cool. Glenn Grunwald was the GM that signed Kidd. So let's show him some love. Type number 5 in the comments section to show Jay Kidd some love and some appreciation for what he did for the Knicks in that one season. If you loved watching Jason Kidd play for the Knicks, I want you to go down right now and type number 5.